So in this video, I'm going to answer a question that was submitted. The question is, what is the best way to overcome bad thoughts, fears, and doubts during a 2-week wait? Okay. So I'm going to give a number of suggestions, and I would advise that you listen to what I say, keeping an open mind, dropping your awareness into your body. So really trying to, as you're listening to me, trying to keep your mind open and bring your energy into your body so you're not thinking so much. I just want you to listen to my words, and whatever resonates with you, I'd like for you to use that as the answer to this question, because everyone has this question in one format or another. And so these answers are going to help you. It's just at any particular moment in time, one or more options are going to resonate with you more. And so I want you to really focus on what you need at this time when you're listening to me. And then you work on really mastering that particular technique until you can use that as your go-to tool to manage any stress, any fears or doubts that come up. Okay. So number one is, and it's not in any particular order of importance. So when something does resonate with you, I would recommend that you just jot it down very quickly at the time and then just continue to listen to me. I really want to encourage you to work from your intuition to get the answers to your questions from your intuition. I'm here to help you as a guide so that you can become more clearly connected with your intuition. You already have the answers within you. It's just that a lot of the doubts and the negativity get in your way from being able to get those answers, those solutions. And so one of them, I feel like the most important tool for you is really to be able to connect with your higher self so that you can get the guidance that you need, because everyone's journey is different, as trite as that is. It is true. What works for you isn't necessarily going to work with another person. And so I'm going to give you some of the solutions that work for pretty much everyone, and then you'll mix and match to figure out what's going to work best for you, right? So the most important thing really is to remember to drop the importance of the 2-week wait. Even if it's a medicated cycle, when you're spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money to make sure that that cycle works, it's not going to be any from a spiritual standpoint, from your physical standpoint, it's really not going to be any different from a natural cycle versus a medicated cycle. So you have to drop the importance of that 2-week wait and really treat it as any other cycle, that those 2 weeks are just any part of your cycle. So the analogy would be like if you were going on dates to attract your partner, you would be looking at each date and evaluating them to see if they are the one. That just completely takes the fun out of the entire journey, right? Of dating, of getting to know other people. You shouldn't be going in with that purpose. Is he the one? Is he the one? Is he the one? You don't go in with that where you just take the fun out of it. And so it's kind of similar is what's going on is women are looking at each cycle. Is this the cycle that's going to be successful? Okay, that didn't work. Is the next one going to be successful? So they're really ruminating on the importance of each particular flow or each cycle. And you have to drop that importance, because the more importance that you put on it energetically, it's going to, and nature's going to have to balance that out, because energy in general just needs to be in an equilibrium. So if you're creating this much importance in any particular cycle, it has to swing the other way, and typically it swings the other way by giving you a negative result. And so you want to maintain this emotional neutrality regardless of where you are in your cycle, whether it's pre-ovulation or after ovulation, after transfer, whatever it is, after insemination. It should not make any difference to how you feel. Regardless if you're on day 1, day 15, day 30, it should not matter. You have to maintain that emotional neutrality and that detachment from the outcome. That is really the most important thing, is really to remain detached from the outcome and very neutral to it wherever you are. So that's the key, is to drop the importance of that 2-week wait, or of really anywhere you are in your cycle. And so the question then becomes, how do you do that, right? The next step would be get off the internet. People are spending way too much time on internet looking up different symptoms. Like, if I have this symptoms, what does this mean? If I don't have the symptom, what does this mean? If I have this blood level, what does it mean? You're getting way too in your head about it. It goes back to your body knows what it needs to do. For the vast majority of you, you don't really have physical issues that prevent you from getting pregnant. This is the vast majority of you. Your body knows what to do. As long as you give input the 2 ingredients that you need, which are the eggs and the sperm, let the body do its job. You get in the way by getting on the internet and fixating on these little small things that cause you worry. And so the more that you get involved in that, the more the worry and the doubt's going to come up, because everything's pretty negative on the internet from what I've seen. And so it's just going to instill more fear into you. So you want to just remove that as you want to remove that as a potential source of negativity. So getting off the internet is really important. That includes forums, social media, just articles on the internet. The most toxic places I believe are forums and social media. I really, really, really highly recommend that you just stay away from that as much as possible during this time where you're really focused on getting yourself into this general state of well-being. And because looking at what other people do or feel, it's not going to make you feel any better. It's just going to make you feel worse. So you need to stay insulated from all of that and just focus on your own well-being. So that leads into staying in the present rather than trying to predict the future. So a lot of people have the doubt and the fear come up during this 2-week wait because they're trying to predict the future. Is this cycle going to work? What if it doesn't work? What am I going to do? Right? And so that just creates a lot of uncertainty, and it's very uncomfortable, and it's emotionally a roller coaster. So you stay in the present, because the present moment is really where you create. You don't create from the past by remembering the history of what hasn't worked. You don't create from the future, which is an unknown and it's unpredictable. Obviously you can't predict that. So you do things that hold your attention in the present moment. So what's going to hold your attention in the present moment? I would suggest that you focus your attention on things that are fun for you, that are pleasant for you, that really give you a lot of peace, a lot of calm, joy, right? That can be a lot of different things for different people. It could be going on trips, dancing, singing, having great sex with your partner, going for a walk on the beach, going out into nature. Whatever it is that you really enjoy, just do more of. And it sounds very simplistic, but that's how you raise your frequency. Because when you're in doubt or fear or anxious, whenever you have those thoughts, your frequency lowers. And then it becomes a mismatch. It doesn't connect you to your vision, which is a very high frequency. Your baby is already here, and they're just in spirit. They haven't materialized, but because of your strong desire for your baby is here. Your baby's soul is here. You need to match your frequency to that of your baby. They're not going to lower their frequency to match yours. You have to raise yours. That's your job. And by frequency, I mean your emotional state. So frequency is how spirit, the babies, view you. That's how they see you, because they don't have physical eyes and ears and fingers. They don't have a physical body, so they see you as energy. Energies, the signature of energy is frequency. So frequency, as I think all of you know, like energy has this waveform, right? It goes up and then it dips down. That's a waveform. So frequency is how often that waveform travels in a set amount of time. So let's say, for example, 1 minute is the time interval. A high frequency energy is something that that will travel, that wave, there's going to be a lot more of it within that 1 second. And then a frequency that is lower frequency, there's going to be less of that, less of those waves within that time interval. And so high frequency emotions are going to be those that are more about love and calm and peace. Those are ones that feel more expansive, feel more open, feel lighter. Whereas the lower frequency emotions and thoughts are going to be more dense and just heavier. You can feel the heaviness of it, the contraction of it, the darkness of it. So those are lower frequency emotions. So the negative emotions of doubt and anxiety are going to be low frequency emotions and thoughts. And so your job is to raise those low frequency states to high frequency and then maintain it there. And neutrality is a high frequency state. It's just because your natural state is that of high frequency. And when you're neutral, none of the doubts was pulling your frequency down artificially with the doubts, with the thoughts. And so to raise your frequency, there are many things that you can do. It's going to be individual as to what lights you up, basically. It's about following your bliss. A lot of people do appreciation lists of things that they currently have and just really moving into that feeling, into the things that they already currently have. And I do recommend doing that so that you acknowledge and you affirm what you've already manifested in your life that you enjoy, that you feel blessed about. So when you do that continuously, it will automatically shift your frequency, and you'll notice that change really in an instant as soon as you write out that appreciation list. And you can be writing it out, on pen and paper, or you can be running it through your mind. That's totally fine. And so you can dress differently. I like to wear dresses because that automatically raises my frequency. When I wear pants or shorts, which I don't do very often nowadays, I'm comfortable. I just don't feel like my frequency is all that high. I'm not so aware of my frequency. So I tend to wear dresses whenever I can, especially when I'm outside. At home, maybe not so much, but I still make an effort. Putting on makeup. I'll wear jewelry. So again, it's different for every person. You've got to pinpoint what it is that helps you feel better about yourself. Drawing, art, playing an instrument. Another way to identify what it is that helps you feel better is it's a technique called Solutions Focus by Paul Jackson. There's a book about it. And so what you do is you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 about your movement, about your journey towards having your baby. So 1 being that you haven't even thought about it. So no one's at a 1. So, and 10 being you're pregnant, right? And so where are you on that scale? You'll just rate yourself from 1 to 10. And whatever that number is, even if it's a 2 or 3, you ask yourself, why so high? Because the natural tendency is, if it's a lower number that's closer to 1, the natural tendency is to ask, why so low? So instead you flip it. You ask, why so high? In asking it that way, what will happen is you'll identify what is working for you. And then you just do more of that. And that's a really simple way of really recognizing, identifying, affirming, and acknowledging the things that are working for you. Okay, so really try to work on raising your frequency. The other thing too that you can do is feel into your body. So that means when I say feel into your body, it means getting out of your head, releasing your thoughts. And the best way to do that as a practice is to meditate, because most people are generally too busy to really understand what it means to be in their body. So you do need to set aside time in your day, every day, at least a few minutes a day, where you're actively trying to clear your head. And for most people, it does need practice. It doesn't come naturally for pretty much all of us. We do need some sort of training. And depending on how active your mind is, you may need to practice more. So for other people who have quieter minds, it will come more naturally to them, where they can just drop into their body and feel what it's like to be in their body, to be connected with their higher self. So when you feel into your body, you then ask, once you feel solidly in your body, then you can ask, what can I do at this time to feel better? So you close your eyes, and then you ask, what can I do at this time to feel better? And a lot of times, if you're really connected, an answer will come. And that answer is your solution, is what you need to do at that time. It'll change from moment to moment. So at that particular moment, when you're having this intense flooding of doubt or whatever, you pause, you feel into your body, and then you ask, what can I do at this time to feel better? And it can, and often the answers that come to you, it may not seem these big like fireworks moment. They're often like small actions that you can do. So for example, a client was saying, oh, her doing foot baths really helps to move her into a better state. Another one, she's Indian, and so she will listen to different Indian songs that are, I think they're called kirtans. I may be wrong, but so they should, and they're, I don't quite know how to explain it, but I guess they're mantras embedded into them, and they're specifically like gods and goddesses. And so like, and there's a lot of like, there's the sound of it and the singing of it really helps to break up those doubts. So singing and singing your favorite songs that make you feel really good, singing them out loud, belting them out will really help to break up that dense energy as well. What else can you do? You can daydream. Daydream for the fun of it. As adults, we lose that capacity to daydream. You look at little kids and they're daydreaming all the time. If you remember back to when you were a child, you were daydreaming all the time just for the fun of it, for no reason other than it was so much fun to just imagine and visualize and just take yourself away. And I would recommend that you get into that habit again, because the imagination is what's going to fuel your journey. Because if you can't imagine the end, that vision, you're not going to be able to get there, because there's no location, there's no destination for your intuition to guide you towards. So really be getting comfortable with the daydreaming of having the baby, of having the perfect family vision. You do it for the fun of it. And I emphasize that, not to get the baby. You daydream because it feels good for you to daydream. And I'll do that throughout the day, where I just take a few moments and just daydream about how I want my life to look like. And it just feels good. I'm not doing it to try to get anything. It's just because it feels good. It's raising my frequency. So that's another way of helping to make sure that you keep your frequency high. Okay. Stop yourself from making a backup plan, from having this plan B. If whatever cycle you're in doesn't work. There's a quote by Tony Robbins: where focus goes, energy flows. What happens is, typically from what I've seen, is that people create these backup plans. Well, what if this cycle doesn't work, then I'm going to do this and this and this and that, right? This goes back to what I previously said. You want to stay in the present. Don't try to futurize what's going to happen. You can't predict it. And so you make your decisions as they come up. You don't try to predict, because usually what's happening is people aren't predicting in a positive way. They're predicting in a negative way if it doesn't work. As soon as your mind starts to go there and creates these alternate paths, these plan Bs, plan Cs, plan Ds, your energy has completely split. And the Tony Robbins quote of where focus goes, energy flows. That's so absolutely true, because what happens is when you're making these alternate plans, these backup plans, if plan A doesn't work, your attention goes where? It goes to these backup plans. They do not stay focused on what you actually want, at least not from what I've seen with clients and from my interactions with people. And so you want to remove those completely, so that it's not even in your mind when you're in an active cycle, when you're in, if it's a natural cycle. You just stay in the moment and you stay focused on your vision and just going towards it. The other way of this, and this has been really effective with clients, is just allowing, and you can do this just right now, where you, again, get into your body and allow whatever the emotion you have to come up. Just come up. Just let it rise. So people, because the negative emotions are uncomfortable, people tend to suppress them and just divert their attention away, and they don't allow them to process. This is energy. So energy of negative or positive emotions, it's just energy. They're neutral. There's no meaning behind them. The meaning that there is what you've attributed to it. It's whatever story you've attributed to that energy. So the energy is not good or bad. It's what you've assigned the value of it. So for example, I use this example, so hopefully this is something that you can relate to. Remember back to whether it's with your partner or maybe with another relationship, right? And you first realize that you're in love with that person. That first moment when it just clicked in that you're in love, it probably felt really good. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love, right? And it was exciting when you recognize that. However, if that person had not told you yet that they love you before you recognized it, what might have happened is that your thoughts just then turn to that of anxiety. Well, he didn't tell me that he loved me, and does he love me? Or does he? You know, I mean, it became more anxious. But it's the same energy. The only change that happened was the filter changed. Initially, it was the excitement of recognizing that, oh, this is the emotion of love, and then in a split second, it changed to, oh, holy crap, does he feel the same way? I don't know, should I tell him or not? Should I keep this to myself? What should I do with this? Right? Then it became anxious. Same energy. It's just that you interpreted differently. You had a different perspective from one second to the next. It's the same thing. So negative and positive emotions and feelings in and of themselves they don't really mean anything. It's just the meaning that you put to them. So you need that energy to come up in your body, not to suppress it, because when you suppress it, that energy gets held in your body and it closes. Oftentimes it closes your heart to protect your heart. You have to have your heart open for this process to work. This is a really magical process of creating a baby from 2 cells. And you need to be in contact with that magic and just allowing that to flow through. But if you're trying to protect yourself from the hurt of it, from the negative emotions by repressing it or shoving them to the side, you're going to close your heart down. And so what you can do is just you allow that any emotion. The thing is with happy and positive emotions, we just naturally let them come up and we fully experience them because it feels really great, right? Because our filter of it is that this is a positive moment or this is a positive emotion. We don't try to repress it. So that energy comes up and it just gets released. It's the same thing with negative emotion and negative energy. You have to let that come up and let that release. So let it come up. If you want to, you can identify it as this is what it feels like to be in this state. And then as it comes up, it may really move you emotionally. You may burst into tears. You may feel a physical reaction, a contraction of your body. You may feel different physical sensations. Just as when you're really happy, you feel different physical sensations as well. You don't try to shut it down. So the same with the negative emotions. It's just because it's uncomfortable because of the negative association that you shut it down. So let it come up. Let yourself feel that, feel into it. And then let that emotion just do its thing. Just let it release. One way, and this is called the Sedona method that I've taught my clients, and it's really effective because it puts a little bit more structure on what I just explained. What you can do is as it comes up, you just move into it. You allow yourself to feel it, feel the sensations of it, hear or visualize or see whatever's going up that comes up as you allow these emotions to rise. And then you ask yourself, can I let it go? And by asking yourself, can I let it go? It's an invitation for you to drop that thought, that emotion, as easily as you would release a pen from your fingers. Can I let it go? Usually, typically, the answer is going to be yes, right? If it's no, it's fine. You just ask, can I let it go? And then the follow-up question is, will I let it go? And that's a kicker for a lot of people. It's not always going to be comfortable for people to want to let go of these emotions. There's a certain attachment to it. There's a comfort in, even though it's suffering, there's a comfort in knowing that, okay, well, this is how I feel, this is how I've been feeling, and they don't actually want to let it go. And it's just so that it can be better. And so you'll have to be honest about it. Will I let it go? Because at that moment, it may be a no, but it will eventually change as you get more comfortable with it coming up, as you go through this process. If something's been with you for a long time, it's not going to just go away in one session of allowing your emotions to come up. You'll have to work through it, sometimes for days, weeks, months. It depends on how much of a pattern of thought and behavior it's ingrained within you. And so the thing about answering no to will I let it go is that discomfort of releasing something that has been there for a long time, it's scary, because then that means the future is unknown. Whereas if you let go whereas you hold on to doubt or fear, you can justify where you are. You can defend where you are based on that. But if you let it go, the future becomes unknown. And that's where people get very uncomfortable. So if you say, will I let it, if you answer no to will I let it go, let that be okay for you. Because over time, it's going to shift to, yes, I will let it go. And then you will eventually be willing to let it go. Okay, so that's called the Sedona method, where you allow the emotions to rise. You ask 2 questions. Can I let it go? And then followed by, will I let it go? And that's been very effective for my clients. It makes it a little bit more structured. The other thing that I would recommend is I have a meditation on YouTube. It's the one that was released on 2/22/22. And it's the one where you step into your pregnant body. And that is a really fantastic one to do to help you really identify with the emotions, with the feelings of what you would be experiencing if you were actually pregnant at this moment in time. And so the more that you can hold on to that throughout your journey, the better your chances, because you're shifting into that identity of being pregnant. And that pregnant self doesn't have any doubts or fears about the fertility journey because it's already done. You want to move yourself into as much of a state of it's done mode. I know what I want. It's baby's there. It's just a matter of time of making everything come into place. It's done. And so the 2/22/22 meditation really helps you move and identify with that process, with just that identity. And so I highly recommend doing that. A lot of the guidance that's given to you, it's not earth-shattering. It is really simple things about reconnecting with yourself, self-care. And you want to really listen to that guidance, because people get into, so that guidance is coming from your intuition, your higher self, and people override that guidance with logic, with their head, because they want to do something. And a lot of times it's not about doing anything. It's more about being this person that identifies with being successful at this journey, being pregnant, having that healthy baby in your arms. And so identifying with that, being that person as much as possible. Because like I said, most of you don't have any problems getting pregnant. It's just the limitation is in your head. There's very few, there's only a minority of you have physical issues that require really medical help with like IVF. Most of you can overcome that, can overcome whatever is preventing you from getting pregnant and having that healthy baby by releasing the limitations and your current beliefs. So most, excuse me, most of my work is really divided into two main areas. One is envisioning what you want, your future. That's the first part. That's really, really important. And so, because a lot of people know that there are a couple of aspects to it. A lot of people know that they want to have the baby, but then their focus is so much on the baby that they don't have this balanced vision of their entire life, which includes their partner, their relationships with their friends and family, with other, with an extended community, work. All of that are elements, your health, your personal health, all of that are important elements to having a complete vision of where you want to go. It's not just the baby. And so I make sure that my clients, and therefore you, need to have a complete and balanced vision. Your baby cannot be the end all and be all of your existence, because if your baby is all of that and has that much importance, which I talked about in the beginning, you can't have that importance. It's too, you're bringing your energy too much into one area of your life, and nature will balance that right out by not giving you what you want, because your attention is too, and it sounds counterintuitive, but because we're kind of taught we need to focus on what we want and just really drill at it and really crank at it. That's not how the way nature works. And so you really want to create balance. Nature is about balance. You see that all the time, life and death, light and dark, up and down. It's balance, yin and yang. There has to be balance in your life overall. When you create that balance, then the baby flows to you much, much more easily. And so people kind of, number one, don't have a very balanced vision. And number two, they kind of muddy up their vision with the doubts. And so that's the second main area that I work with, is just releasing those limiting beliefs, releasing the doubts, because those are all bottlenecks to your success. They understand that the universe is really trying to give you what you want. It really is. And so, but you've got to get out of your own way. And so I really recommend people just try to believe as little as possible, so that you are as open as you can be to all of the information that's coming to you, so that you can sort and sift with your intuition, with your body, so that you can figure out what resonates with you. People are getting way too much in their head and trying to analyze this journey, making it this linear path. It doesn't work that way. You have the essential components: egg, sperm, open fallopian tubes, uterus. You got it. Let the universe do the work for you. Get out of your own way by really focusing on being the highest version of yourself. When you do that, you automatically attract your baby and everything else that you want, including that house that you want, the career, the perfect career. If you're single, the perfect partner, all of that. It comes automatically, and you can just rest in the trust and the knowing that it's coming. And you don't have to get into the mechanics of how it's going to come, because that's not how you're going to create. The how is the universe. That's the universe's job. your job is to identify very, very clearly and sticking with it what your vision is. People waffle all the time about what they want. They want the baby, then the doubt set in. You're contradicting what you want, right? So you go back all the time. You got to stay focused on what you want, which is the baby. And so, that's challenging when you have these doubts and you have the social media and the media and your doctors telling you it's not possible. That's why I tell people, first of all, go through the 7 daily habits that I have on YouTube. The first one is remove all the distractions that muddy up your vision. All right. So you got to really release those limiting beliefs.